Okay, good evening. Welcome to our school board meeting for Columbia Heights Public Schools, Independent School District 13 for Tuesday, February 13th, 2018. I'd like you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome everybody. Apparently it's a busy night at the high school based on how far I had to walk after I parked today, so that's a good thing. I'd like to have the meeting called to order and start out with the roll call, if you would please, Holland.
Mueller.
Here.
Severson.
Here.
Larkin.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
A Samurai. Here.
Okay, thank you. Our mission statement: Columbia Heights Public Schools create worlds of opportunity for every learner in partnership with supportive small-town communities by challenging all to discover their talents, unleash their potential, and develop tools for lifelong success. Our core values are community, excellence, collaboration, integrity, respect, courage, and innovation. And we're going to start our evening off with our Highlander highlights. We got a whole bunch of people to recognize tonight, and we are going to start out with the TIE's exceptional teachers.
Should we go line up?
Chair Larkin, members of the board. It's an exciting time always to honor solid, strong, exceptional teaching. And this evening, we're going to talk about two individual teachers. I have a little piece I'm going to read about them, but I want to talk about first what the award was. So each year, TIES honors member district exceptional teachers. And those teachers are teachers that we put forward that we think in our school system are making a difference in transforming learning with technology in our school system. And so we have names that come forward from the buildings, and from a district level, we review those names and we submit to TIES. And some of the things that we're looking at when we look at who we're going to submit, we look at what the teachers are doing in the classroom, how they're embedding technology, and how they're really modeling things that we want the students doing in their classroom, like persistence, innovation, flexibility. We know that we have to have flexible learning spaces, creativity. Some students are more challenging than others, and we have that personalized learning and moving forward with that initiative and really being innovative, and then being leaders within the building. So this evening, I have Jill Passage from the high school, and then I have Peg Nelson from Valley View Elementary. And I'm going to say something, a little something about each one of them. This is what we submitted to TIES. Jill is an English teacher at Columbia Heights High School who consistently seeks out new strategies for employing technology in her instruction. Fostering critical thinking in her students is a clear goal in her classroom. She uses technology as a tool to push her students to think more deeply about their own writing. She is an outstanding example of a teacher who consistently reflects on her own practice. When she explores new technology, Jill is always asking how it can be authentically strengthen her students' learning experience by being more in-depth, more efficient, and more personalized. Peg Nelson. Peg is a fourth grade teacher at Valley View Elementary School that is consistently advocates for equitable use of technology for her students, not only in making sure students have access to devices when needed, but also seeking a deeper, more purposeful, and engaging use of technology. Peg entered the formative assessment arena by way of clickers many years ago, long before it was trending, and continues to creatively find ways to streamline and simplify the collection of helpful, real-time student data. She continues to utilize new and engaging tools, and being collaborative in nature, shares her successes and challenges with colleagues to help guide them along the way. So that's what we submitted, and they were honored at the TIES conference this past December. and got to walk with the rest of the exceptional teachers across the state.
You guys have anything you want to say?
I'm just humbled, honored and humbled.
It's
Thank
kind
you.
of a big deal. I mean, it really is. I mean, the TIES conferences that I've attended and, you know, the recognition of the teachers from across the state and stuff, you guys get to walk across the stage and all that neat stuff, so.
I had no idea until I went.
Very neat. Well, it speaks volumes. We have certificates for each of you, and Casey's coming with his camera, so we'll start with Peg, if you want to come on up.
Sure.
Peg Nelson is recognized for being named the TIES Exceptional Teacher Award winner. Thank you for your dedication to students, staff, and community of the Columbia Heights Public School District. Yep. This one says the same thing, except the name's different. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
You guys have anything you want to add or before we move on?
Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay. Next up, we are going to take some time to recognize some of our students across the district. First up, you guys want me to talk about them? Is somebody planning on talking about the Manny's up first? So, Jake?
I was just going to introduce them and then have you
Get up here then. Okay. All right. That's good.
or just say a couple of things. Good evening, Chair Larkin and members of the board. Thank you for having us. I'm excited to celebrate these student athletes. They are really setting the bar high in the classroom, on the field, and hopefully if some of our swimmers come in the pool as well. Some of them will not be in attendance tonight because they have many activities that are going on already. But thank you again for having us.
Okay. Columbia Heights High School senior Manny Alvarez was selected to the 2017 Minnesota High School All-Star Football Game. The 6'6", 290-pounder was one of 8 offensive linemen statewide to be selected to the North team for the 45th annual game. Alvarez was chosen by a selection committee by the Minnesota Football Coaches Association. Among the seniors' football accomplishments are Twin Cities All-District and Offensive Lineman of the Year, the Red Sub-District, for 2016 and 2017, and 2017 Star Tribune All-Metro Second Team. The All-Star Game was played on December 9th at US Bank Stadium, and that game was played over and over in a lot of different places. I mean, so I got to see a whole bunch of times. But I'd like you to come on up, man. I got a certificate for you. It says Manny Alvarez. Hang on, we're gonna fix this height thing in a minute. Don't take pictures yet, Casey. Is recognized for being selected to participate in the Minnesota High School All-Star Game by the Minnesota Football Coaches Association. From the waist And there's more. Go ahead. We got Alex next.
I think Alex.
Yeah. Go ahead, you want to introduce them or talk about them, or?
This is Alex Gilas. I said that correct?
All right,
Nice.
Alex. This Columbia Heights High School senior was selected to the first team 1A All-Star State Boys Soccer Team. The Minnesota State High School Soccer Coaches Association selects the top 48 players in each gender and class for the all-state teams. Players are nominated by coaches, and all state selection committees vote to determine which players make the first and second teams. All teams include 22 field players and 2 goalkeepers. Alex played in the All-Star game at the North St. Paul High School. He was honored at the banquet prior to being in the state tournament, so that's awesome. Come on up. Thank you. Alex is recognized for being selected to participate in the Minnesota All-State Boys Soccer Team by the Minnesota State High School Soccer Coaches Association. Thanks.
Is the swim team up next?
No, I'm on.
Oh, Amara. Amara Thompson is up next? Dwayne, do you want to say anything? Amara comes from the middle school.
Yep, okay. The Art Educators of Minnesota have selected Amara Thompson, an 8th grade student at Columbia Academy, as the statewide middle school division winner for the 2018 Youth Art Month Flag Design Contest. Nice job. You get to come out, too. Amara is recognized for being the winner of the 2018 Youth Art Month Flag Design Contest statewide middle school division. That's cool. I like this, they keep getting shorter.
Well, I don't think any of our swimmers are here, but they were recognized for an academic award. They are all at either basketball, they were supposed to be home from gymnastics practice already, or they're at Knowledge Bowl. So they're all involved in something extra, so.
Okay, well, we'll certainly take a minute here to recognize who they are. The Columbia Heights High School girls swimming team has been named Academic Team Champions by the Minnesota State High School Swimming and Diving Coaches Association. The 7 members of the team in grades 10 through 12 have a combined GPA of 3.83, putting them above the gold standard of 3.75. And the members are, and I'm not sure how to say Safa's last name.
I diode.
Diode. Okay, Natalie Blum, Anya Erickson, Kira Greenfield, Melissa Hosh, Isabel Reardon, and Samantha Alexson. And if they happen to come sneaking in somewhere along the way, you don't think they'll make it? If they do, we'll give them their certificates. We'll break it up for them. But congratulations to that. That's, I mean, that not only are they competing, but they're maintaining super
I
high.
think most of them are doing like 3 sports or 3 different activities throughout the school year, so that's pretty incredible.
Obviously, they can't be here, and they're
There you
for
go.
other activities.
So,
Not only they're participating in swimming, but they're doing all that other stuff and
Pretty amazing.
maintaining grades. That's nice. That's exciting to see, so, okay. All right, thank you. Could we clap for them?
Yeah.
All right, let me get rid of this. Okay, next up would be the approval of the agenda and announcements. So if I could get a motion to move the approval of the agenda forward.
So moved.
Is that Laura? Mm-hmm.
Second.
Lorian. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all's in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Announcements, February 19th on Monday, there'll be no school, it's President's Day. February 20th at 5 PM will be the school board listening session. Previously posted for February 20th at 5:30 was a school board work session, but due to lack of agenda items, there will not be a work session. But the school board listening session will still take place. February 27th at 7 PM will be a school board meeting, regular school board meeting. Next up would be communication to the board. Citizen employee representatives. At this time, any citizen or employee may briefly address the school board. The board will listen to the brief remarks, ask clarifying questions, and if desired, request that the administration follow up. The board will not take action at this meeting on requests presented at this time. And the board, the first person was here to speak about the Springbrook Nature Center Spree fundraiser. And I'll talk about that again at board topics and talk about the details. And then we had a parent come in and express some concerns about curriculum choices and where we're at regarding specifically the Heritage Spanish class. So, and now we will move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to move that forward.
So moved.
Hang on. It includes, my bad, it includes the minutes of the January 9th school board meeting, January 9th and 30th special call meetings, personnel report, treasury report for December 2017. Still get the motion?
Yeah, I'll still move that
Thanks,
forward,
Lauren.
Still with that. I'll second it.
Okay, so Maddie, any discussion, questions?
I was wondering about this, since I was not present at the January 9th meeting, wouldn't it make sense if I abstain from?
All you're approving is the minutes, but whether you were there or not, I mean, I guess you wouldn't know if they were accurate, would you?
I wouldn't.
Okay. That's up to you. I mean, my understanding was you abstain when generally there's a conflict of interest of some sort. So, but if you want to, it's not going to change anything if you're more comfortable doing
Yeah,
it that way.
I mean, I just want to stick to the principle of it, and since I wasn't there,
Nope, that's fine.
it wouldn't make sense for me to attest to anything.
Okay. Then, abstaining just the January 9th meeting, correct?
Correct.
So would we then need to
Yep,
Have a
so then we
motion
would
to
pull
pull.
that and make a motion for everything else and then come back for the,
I move that we pull consent item A out of the agenda to discuss separately.
I'll
no,
second
A
that.
is, we just got just the January 9th part, though. Is what she's talking, because you were there for the 30th.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be,
yeah,
it
well,
wouldn't be,
I-
but A is the 30th
Yeah, I
is
would pull
part of
the
A.
entire A. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference.
Okay.
Can we make a motion to just pull the January 9th school board minutes?
Yeah, you just actually wouldn't second or approve Laura's motion.
Yeah,
If
or
there's no second,
modify
it
it or-
Okay,
fails. Yeah.
there's a second for that. So, looking for a second, and looking for a second. So that motion
I'll second.
dies for lack of a second. So now we're back to,
I'll make a motion to pull just the minutes of the January 9th school board meeting from the consent agenda under item A.
second for that? Yeah. Probably should, huh?
Thank you.
Third time's a charm.
Okay.
Do we need to go through that?
Revise your motion,
I will
please.
revise my motion to include removing consent agenda item A, the minutes of January 9th school board meeting, as well at both school board meetings. We'll just leave it.
On
Two,
January
so-
9th.
Did I say January 9th?
Organizational meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, so Molly made a motion. Discussion. Okay, we're working it tonight. And Natty.
I'm learning.
Okay. So that's been removed. Okay, so then we go back to,
We technically, I think, need to vote on that.
what's that?
I think do we need to vote on that? On the motion? and
The
second?
motion to remove that, right, but then we need to get
The
back to
original motion.
Okay.
All those
Not
in-
hers, was not a second. We're on her motion right now. so
Mine
we have
didn't
to-
carry.
Right.
Mine
So we
didn't
need to-
carry, so it's Molly's.
Okay.
What are you pointing at me for?
Because you need to ask if we approve that.
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm working up to that. Okay. All right, so the motion on the table is to remove the 2 January 9th meetings. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Now we're back to the consent agenda, which includes the, okay, who's our parliamentarian? Because now I'm confused. We
Yep,
pulled
so-
that off.
Yep, so now we would, sorry, you're the parliamentarian, but I can answer the question.
Go ahead, answer it, Lauren.
Okay, so now we would vote on the consent agenda, which includes the 30th, January 30th special call meeting, the personnel report, and the treasurer's report.
And we
And then
still have to
after
come
that,
back
then
to
we
the
can.
January 9th meeting.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda that includes the meeting, the special call meeting on the 30th, personnel report and treasurer's report.
So moved.
Lorian-
Second.
Lorian and Laura. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, now I am looking for a motion to approve the 2 meetings for January 9th, the school board meeting and then the organizational meeting.
So moved.
Molly,
Second.
Lorian, discussion. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Holla abstains. Excuse me. Okay, that was work. Next up would be the discussion reports and information items, starting with reports from members of the board. Board members will report on board activities since the last regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education. Gloria, please.
Thank you. Since our last meeting, I had several conversations with community members and some meetings, as well as a conversation with Member Lewis.
Okay.
Well, since our last meeting, we attended, are we calling that the mini retreat? What are
That
we-
was the 30th,
board-
the
the
board
board
retreat was,
special
yep.
meeting. Also was able to go to the chair meeting before this tonight, and been to a swim meet and a basketball game that was also family night, which was very fun. The choir was there to sing the national anthem, and the middle schoolers joined them, and the pep band was there along with the middle schoolers who were able to play in a very huge pep band. It was, the noise just filled the gym. Yeah, it was really fun. And then the dance team actually did the halftime show, so it was just a great display of a lot of different things the kids are doing in the district right now.
Cool.
And the boosters had free pizza, I think, right?
Yes.
Yep,
They did.
yep.
Laura?
Well, I attended the Northeast Metro 916 monthly board meeting. We had a presentation from the tech, I get the director of the technology over there, and he went over some of the new systems that he put into place for being able to handle the equipment, because the equipment over at 916 is spread out geographically over so many sites. They were trying to make sure that they would get these problems resolved much more quickly. So they did an internal audit on that to find out if they were taking care of things very quickly, and they had some very creative kind of little games that they played with a scoring system with how quickly they would get the problem resolved and feedbacks and things like that, which was very cool. We also got some pictures of Quora. Quora is the building that will be replacing the old Capitol View building over in Roseville. And there's a lot of different programs that run out of that particular facility. And each one of them is going to have space now that's designed to meet the program needs. The building isn't obviously opened yet, but I certainly welcome whenever we do have an open house on that, to have all the board members come to the meeting, come to the building and see what great stuff happens over there. They really did an amazing job over at Capitol View, and having space where they can separate some of the student populations that have more unique needs is, I think, going to be beneficial for all the students. And the building just looks absolutely fabulous. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to tour Carner Blue or Pancalo. There's certainly the ability to be able to do that, and you would have to actually contact 916 directly. You can't go through me for me to arrange a meeting, but if you wanted to see a tour of those buildings and those facilities, I think it's a great opportunity. The other thing is, I also attended the tribal consultation meeting last week as well. We were part of a consortium with several other districts. We split off from them a year ago, and this was just kind of tidying up some of the previous consortium. And so we had some great conversation with that, and thank you very much for allowing me to attend that one. I'm kind of passionate about that particular program, so I really appreciate it. And I also attended the little mini retreat, and I can't think of anything else, something else I'm sure, but it's been a busy couple of weeks.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Hala?
I attended the special called meeting last time and our little retreat. Spoke to a number of constituents over the phone and attended the policy subcommittee meeting. That's
Oh,
what
the
it was.
policy subcommittee, yes, yes.
Excuse me. Yes, I attended several of the varsity boys and girls basketball games, including the youth family night. I had a chance to take my 5th grade girls team, and they had a blast all hanging out and watching that game. It was a pretty good game. Also attended Columbia Heights conferences, Highland conferences, and I apologize if I'm going back too far, but I wasn't here on January 30th. And then the 9th grade parent information meeting, which I think was really well done. A lot of great information was presented. They had a panel of high school students. I think they were mostly seniors, but I think they had one from every other grade level. And they spoke about their experiences, and it was really, if anyone was there listening, you really got the message that all of the teachers are so willing to just go the extra mile for these kids. Each one of them talked about their experiences, that the teachers are available before and after, and it was just really great to hear all that. Also attended the bullying prevention roundtable at Columbia Academy. Had several conversations with community members. I was updated by Chair Larkin about the mini retreat that you guys had while I was in Florida. I apologize I couldn't be here. And had a conversation with Member Mueller, and I also had a chance to meet with Superintendent Kelly last week. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back just a little bit past last week as well, only to mention I attended the variety show in January, and the reason that I wanted to take a second to do that is it's actually, I try to go every year because it's what it has been, is it Com Arts is the class that they come out of. So these are kids that are taking a communication class, have probably no desire to be on a stage, but part of the grade and things is they have to do, whether they lip sync or they read a poem or whatever it is. And I just have a lot of, I don't know if respect is the word, but to watch them get up there and be able to step outside their comfort zone. It's always an entertaining event. So I was able to attend that. Saw a wrestling match this last week. The retreat, we had a chair meeting prior to this, and then the policy meeting as well. So, and that would conclude my report. Moving forward, next up would be the information about the American Indian Education Parent Committee concurrence.
Chair Larkin, members of the board, I'm here this evening to provide information on the American Indian Education Program, particularly the resolution of concurrence. Of course, our mission is to create worlds of opportunity for every learner. And an area of focus with the American Indian Education Program is community collaboration and integrity. So this evening, I'm here to bring information forward, and we'll be back on the February 27th board meeting with a governance question asking the board to approve the American Indian Resolution of Concurrence. So this is part of Minnesota State Statute 124D.78. Any Minnesota school district with 10 or more American Indian students are required to have an American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. For the last several years, we have been in part of a consortium with Fridley and Spring Lake Park Public Schools. That consortium was dissolved last spring, and so we have formed a new committee all on our own with Columbia Heights. So part of the charge under this statute is to provide the maximum involvement for parents and children enrolled in Indian education programs, elementary, secondary, in special education and support services. So like I mentioned, we have a new American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. What the committee does is annually we review data, inform the district about our American Indian programs, make recommendations to the school district and the school board, and then vote annually on concurrence. At a previous school board meeting, I presented the American Indian Education Plan that was created in collaboration, the goals, with the parent committee under the guidance of the Minnesota Department of Education. So just an update on some of the programming and where we're at. This year, we were able to hire American Indian specialist, Valerie Larson. We're very happy to have her back. She's a busy person in our district. She gets out to all of the buildings. She's meeting monthly with American Indian student groups at each of the elementary schools. She is trained in the Check and Connect program and meets with students in 6 through 12 with that program. She has just launched her own encore class at Columbia Academy for American Indian students. She's also consulting with an encore class at Valley View around textiles, but helping to bring in guest speakers specific to American Indian textiles. She provides a lot of input on curriculum. We'll have a new social studies course next school year, so she's in consultation with that. She's also reviewed all of our American Indian trunks and is making recommendations for making them even better. She visits different classrooms. There's a classroom at North Park Elementary School where they are writing a play, and the play is that they went to a powwow and one of the drummers was sick, and so the elder asked the student to come and drum, and so part of the play is they didn't know the protocol and what they were supposed to do, so they asked Valerie Larson to come in to consult on their actual play, and then they'll be performing the play once it's done. These, I think, are second graders, so pretty exciting. Specific field trips. We are in the process of interviewing. We have applicants for a tutor, for American Indian tutor, funded through this grant. And so we're in the process of interviewing. So hopefully that'll come to fruition soon. On the screen, you can see photos. 2 Saturdays ago, we had a family event here in this room where Shawnee Hunt, you can see standing there. He's actually a Columbia Heights High School alumni. Okay. He came and did storytelling, and we had 3 generations of families there. You can see at the bottom, the 2.5-week-old, that's a twin, one of the twins that were just came into the bigger American Indian family in our district. It was very well attended and really powerful to have him. He'll be doing some other projects with Valerie Larson in the district as well. Valerie is also visiting different reservations over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be getting tribal college pennants to put up. So in our AVID classrooms and in our hallways, we have pennants from all different colleges, and we're lacking tribal colleges. And so that came from the parent committee. They really wanted those, so we're working on that. And then, of course, providing staff development. So all of those are updates that we ended up speaking about actually last night at our American Indian parent meeting. Also at that meeting was the discussion of the annual vote for concurrence. So the full packet resolution is in the board packet for you to read. Last night, I'm very pleased to announce that the committee did indeed vote for concurrence. So this is the exact language. We, the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee, issue a vote of concurrence. We agree with the contents and implementation of the Indian Education Program Plan and commit to evaluating the IEPP at the end of the school year to ensure that it is continuing to meet the needs of American Indian students. Cheryl Davies, who is our committee chair, a parent chair, was planning on coming this evening. She emailed me this afternoon and an issue came up, so on her behalf, I just wanted to present that they did indeed vote for concurrence. Where it will be, when I come back at the next school board meeting, I'll be asking the board to approve that and then sign the resolution. Finally, I would like to let you know that the committee has decided that the powwow will be on May 19th. The Columbia Academy Encore classes will be designing the posters for the advertising for the powwow. It'll be at the same time and in the same location last year, Highlander Center, 12 to 4. Some of the components of the annual powwow is multiple drum groups, dancing, there's a feast. Our American Indian seniors are presented with eagle feathers that they can wear at graduation. There's vendors and other activities as well. So I just wanted to let you know we decided on the date and would like to invite everyone to attend. So again, I'll be back on the 27th for an action item governance question, and if there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Next up would be revised 2017-18 budget. Kristine.
Chair Larkin, members of the school board, this evening we're here to look at the revised school budget for the fiscal year 2018. At this point, it's just an informational item, and I'll be coming back on February 27th to ask the school board for action to approve the revisions. So every year at this time, we look at the budget that was passed in June, the original budget, and revise it according to any changes that we know of in the revenue and expenditure side of the budget. Of course, the mission statement of Columbia Heights is to create worlds of opportunity for every learner. The budget actually impacts the first 4 areas of values of community excellence, collaboration, and integrity. The first portion that we'll look at are revenue changes. On the screen, you can see the general fund unassigned fund balance, or revenue, decreased approximately $136,000. The general fund restricted increased about $138,000. So there's a minor increase in the general fund and this revision of about $1,632. The food service fund basically stayed even. It has a slight increase of $250. And then the community education fund has a significant increase of $273,000 for the revision. What these changes are, overall, the revenue changes for the entire district is an increase of 1% or $316,000. There really isn't any adjustment reflected here in enrollment. We did the calculations of enrollment, and we think we're going to hit right about at what was budgeted in January. So these revenues aren't as a result of enrollment changes. The ALC revenues are part of the unassigned or unrestricted fund balance. Those are going down $100,000. And if you recall, the ALC is basically a 916 program that's a pass-through. So you'll see a corresponding decrease on the expenditure side of $100,000 also. Compensatory and LEP dollars increased $266,000. Those are based on free and reduced counts for our students, and they're always a year behind. So this is just a reflection of the state updating our revenues based on what our student counts were last year. So it increased our revenues $266,000. And then in the community education fund, we were awarded the 21st Century Grant, and so the revenues increased by approximately $254,000. On the expenditure side, the changes are a little greater. The unassigned fund balance is increasing approximately $68,000. expenditures, I'm sorry, not fund balance, are increasing $68,000. The restricted expenditures are increasing $644,000 for total general fund increases of $712,000. Food service, we're not really projecting any changes in the expenditure side. And then on the community education fund, we're increasing the expenditure side at $254,000. This is what comprises those changes. The expenditures are up 2% or a little over $1 million for the year. As I said, the ALC expenditures are going down $100,000. That's just a pass-through. Transportation, however, this reflects, at the end of last year, we missed our budgeted or our projected transportation numbers. So this is to increase that to meet the correct number, and then also to reflect the change in the contract that was awarded this summer. So that's the most significant increase on this side. Also, the ties expenditures, we've talked about this a little bit before. At the end of last year, when we did the budget, we took $280,000 that we knew we were going to have to spend, and we put it aside in an assigned fund balance, and we will be reflecting those expenditures this year. So we did put it back into the budget, or put it into the budget on the expenditure side. And then the 21st Century Grant, this just shows the corresponding expenditures for that grant. So we're recognizing the revenues and the expenditures on both sides of the equation. The revised budget overview for our fund balance projections are shown on the screen as they are also presented in the school board packet. Basically, we're projecting overall for the general fund to end at $3.2 million fund balance, and overall in all funds a $9.8 million fund balance. This slide I put in there just so you can see when you approve the original budget in June, the audit isn't done. And so I wanted you to see, even though the fund balance is changing $780,000, it's decreasing from the audited fund balance. What you approved as a school board in June, you know, what the target was, it's really overall in the district a $299,000 decrease. So at the end of the year when we did the budget, we had better than expected results, which increased our fund balance, which is really helpful at this point in time when we have some expenditures that we have to recognize. So overall, when you look at the original budget that you approved in June, the unassigned general fund is actually increased by $10,500. The restricted general fund balance is a little bit less, about $83,000 less. And the district overall fund balance is $299,000 less. Any questions? It's a lot of numbers.
Yes. Okay. Nobody has any questions? See you on the 27th? You coming back?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll be back the 27th for action.
Okay. Next up would be the tennis court bids.
Chair Larkin, members of the school board, the school district did go out for for bids on reconstruction of the tennis courts. And this evening, I'm here to request a governance question, informational item only, that we award the contract to Bituminous Roadways from on recommendation of Larson Engineering, who's our engineering firm on this project. The bid tabulation is included in the board packet, and we are accepting both alternates. Alternate one is to actually also replace the backboard that tennis players practice against. And then alternate two is to replace some exterior lighting on the school district building to put more efficient LED lighting on the outside there. The original budget for this project was estimated at $424,000. So you can see we're well under the projected budget amount. However, we do expect that there will be some soil corrections on this project when that tennis court is taken out and put in. So even with that in mind, we should be at or under budget when the project is complete.
Anybody have any questions about that?
I have a couple of comments, and I want to thank you for the information you put together for us on the tennis program. And I want to talk about this a little bit because there's actually potential I'm not going to be here on the 27th. But you know, looking at this expense, we have a number of students who are participating in the tennis program, and that is growing. So there's over 50 to 60 kids, I think, who are participating in that program. And we also, the tennis courts are available for community use, and gym classes or physical education classes are using that as well. And where we're at with the current state of the tennis courts, without these repairs, and it has been deferred in the past, they're not usable. So really looking at either spending the money to invest in the asset that the students are using, or spend the money to remove it, because it
Can't
not
be used
it
anymore.
can't safely be used in the condition that it would be in.
That's correct. It's beyond repair and patching at this point. Mhm. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I ask what we think the life cycle of the courts would be themselves? Did they give us any estimates of?
I don't know, but I can find that out.
Okay, I have not a lot of background in tennis, so it'd be interesting to hear. And I know they requires upkeep.
Right.
We've heard about that in the past, but just a typical life cycle would be
Okay.
interesting to hear.
Anybody else?
I know they've been patched several times.
Do we even know the last time they were completely turned over?
No, I don't know the
Okay.
last time they were completely turned
Been a
over.
while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go out there, you can see a lot of patches in there, but I don't, it's probably been quite a few years, decades. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
2018-19 school calendar. Lindsey.
Chair Larkin, members of the board. In your packet was the draft of the 18-19 school calendar. The committee has met, and we came to a consensus. The calendar is pretty similar to this year's calendar as far as when we're putting district and service days, grading days, winter break. So I'll bring the calendar forward at the February 27th board meeting for approval. I'm here if there's any questions.
I have one question, just clarification. The calendar is, you have a calendar committee, right? Is that
Correct.
And parents and staff, teachers, principals, admin, everybody's kind of part of that committee?
Parents are invited. We didn't have the best turnout, but they're invited. We have staff there, administrations there, principals, so a lot of input going in.
Okay, thank you.
I'm surprised to see that the day before Thanksgiving is not off. I
It
know
was-
teachers usually like to have that off.
When you tell them they have to either go later in June or they have to have one less day at winter break, then it makes it pretty easy. They want to be here the day before Thanksgiving, so. There wasn't a lot of wiggle room this year to be done on time.
And there was teacher representation in this committee?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Every year, I always make the same recommendation, make sure we get all the telephone numbers on the back page of the book, so we don't have to take it down. Make sure that little tab on there. So I do
I'll pass that
recommend
along
that
to
every single
Casey,
year,
yeah.
yes,
Yes, I'll pass that along.
yes.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda is School Board Recognition Week.
Yes, it's me again.
You again? All right.
It's me again. So the Minnesota School Boards Association has set February 19th through the 23rd for School Board Recognition Week. This is a time to build awareness and understanding of the vital function the elected school board members provide to our district. It takes strong schools to build a strong community, and our school board members devote countless hours to making sure our schools are helping every child learn at the highest level. They make tough decisions every month and spend many hours studying educational issues and regulations in order to provide the kind of accountability our citizens expect. So tonight we have certificates for all the board members to recognize you for your years of service helping our community. So I guess I have to step in for Superintendent Kelly tonight and hand out the
Line
certificates.
up on that banner, or Casey will yell at you.
Just one at a time. Oh, I put it on mute. so I muted it.
Say something. Maddie. That was, you saw who just grabbed it, it wasn't me.
Green light came on.
First up, we have Hala Samurai with 1 year. with 1 year of service. Maddie Severson with 1 year of service. Molly Lewis, 3 years of service. Laura Palmer, 7 years of service. John Larkin with 5 years of service.
All right, well, congratulations, everybody, on School Board Appreciation Week. We will move into our action items. First up would be the teacher ECFE teacher seniority list.
Chair Larkin, members of the board, each year per the teacher master agreement, we have to post the teacher master or teacher seniority list and the ECFE seniority list and give everybody 30 days to review. So we've done that. So tonight I'm here seeking approval of both the teachers and the ECFE teacher seniority list. Any questions that were raised were answered and taken care of.
Okay, let's start with a motion.
So moved.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Molly? Questions, discussion?
The teachers have seen this and, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next up is the seniority list for,
Rest of the groups. Chair Larkin, members of the board, in accordance with the master agreements, we have to post the custodial, clerical, food service, education assistant, lunch duty monitor seniority lists. They get sent out to each unit, and they have 30 days to ask any questions. I think we had one question come up, and it was just about a start date, and we were able to handle that. So there was no other questions or issues raised. So tonight I'm here seeking approval of these seniority lists.
okay, looking for a motion?
So moved.
Ooh, that was close. Lori?
Second.
Maddie, sorry. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. And finally, action item, discontinuance of programs and positions. This is a resolution. I have to find that. If you want to start talking about it, I gotta look for it, so.
Okay. Chair Larkin, members of the board, at the January 30th school board meeting, I did present the discontinuance of programs and positions. It's an annual resolution that comes forward directing the superintendent administration to consider discontinuance of programs or positions to effectuate economies in the school district and reduce expenditures, make recommendations to the school board for discontinuance of programs, curtailment of programs, or discontinuance of positions, or curtailment of positions in order to balance the school district budget. So tonight I'm here seeking approval of this resolution.
Okay, start with a motion, a second, and then I'll read it.
So moved.
Second.
Laura and then Hala. Thank you. Okay, the resolution reads as follows. Resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons therefore. Whereas the special education cross-subsidy has grown over the last 5 years from $4,362,684 to $5,264,036, necessitating that the amount of the school district's general fund needed to cover the obligation has increased to 10% of the general fund budget. whereas the financial condition of the school district is dependent on federal, state, and local revenues, and these have not been sufficient to cover the total cost of ownership for the school district expenses. And whereas the school district has an obligation to balance the budget on an annual basis, and whereas reductions in expenditures and school finances must include discontinuance of positions and discontinuance or curtailment of programs, and whereas a determination must be made as to which faculty and staff contracts and programs must be terminated and not renewed, and which licensed staff may be placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits in affecting discontinuance of positions and programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Independent School District Number 13, Columbia Heights, hereby directs the superintendent of schools and the administration to consider the discontinuance of programs or positions to effectuate economies of the school district and reduce expenditures. Make recommendations to the school board for the discontinuance of programs, curtailment of programs, discontinuance of positions, or curtailment of positions in order to balance the school district budget. Discussion.
I think for everyone watching, if this is new to them, just kind of describing that this is an annual process that the school district goes through to manage money responsibly. Correct.
Can you talk just very briefly about some of the processes that you go through to determine what programs or positions may be reorganized or eliminated?
Well, we look at, we meet numerous meetings with principals, directors, the superintendent, looking to see where enrollment is, and we look at the registrations for the next school year. So kind of seeing where the student interest lies too, and where students have enrolled, and if there's not enough enrollment, then we might wait a year to run the class. So we meet pretty much all of January, all of February, all of March, into April, really figuring out where we have to maybe cut some of the programs.
Is there a point in time during this process where you would involve the community or the parents' input?
No, not during this process.
So it's typically about enrollment.
Enrollment's part of it. I don't know if anybody else knows more. Kristine might have more on the budget side of it too.
And probably changes in funding
Yes.
for
Yep.
grants and whatnot.
Well, I think as she's walking up here, I think, and it's the first whereas that there is that it's the special
Yes.
ed cross subsidy keeps getting more and more expensive, and, I mean, and
Yes,
but which is why we have to do this. I say we have to do this, a piece of why.
Yes, but at
a
the
big
same
piece.
time, the budget is something that finances the district's priorities. How are those priorities determined, and who gets to have input, and what makes up those priorities? We're elected by the public. We need to be able to include the public in helping us set those priorities.
Okay, so we got-
And I would just add two things. A lot of what happens in the budget, especially in the restricted programs, it's pretty mandated what we have to spend the money on, and so that plays a key role in what happens. On the unrestricted, unbalanced side or unassigned side, when we come to the school board, and I believe it's on the February 27th agenda, we talk about some of the major assumptions that we're going to be making and some of the major things that we're putting into the budget. And so that's an opportunity, the first opportunity for the school board to give input and for the community to hear, what are the things that we're facing in the new year. So we'll talk about changes in the revenue streams or changes in enrollment that we see, that type of thing. So along the way, those are some opportunities for the school board or for others to give input.
Okay. And tonight, the resolution is that we're doing now is just to allow you to move forward
Correct.
with this
Correct.
process.
Yep.
Okay.
I also have a quick question, too. Do we also look at some of the programs for economic return on investment, too, as part of this process?
Yes, Zena and Brian Hennekins, or Director Stenvik, excuse me, and Brian Hennekins do the academic return on investment for some of the programs, too.
I missed the question. You were asking about return on investment
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I wanted
No,
to make
thank
sure
you.
that was also part of that. And which programs are we reviewing this year? Okay. Thank you.
Just to be clear, that's the topic for academic return on investment, not for discontinuance, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as
But-
part of the, as
yeah.
part of the process.
Yeah, I was like,
is
whoa,
We were
okay.
asking what
Yeah.
goes
Okay.
into.
We went from discontinuance to input to from across the room.
Right,
actually, too.
right.
So Clarification, that's one of the programs that they're looking at, the
Okay.
return of investment.
Not for discontinuance.
That
No,
is correct.
They look at, they study it.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Yes.
And before a program is decided to be discontinued, would we look at
Yes.
return on investment? And if, what kind of alignment there is with our mission as a district?
Not necessarily all the programs for academic return on investment. I will be bringing forward, along with Director Carr and Superintendent Kelly, as we get more into the process. We do inform the board of what we're considering for discontinuance before it's an action item. So not everything goes through the academic return on investment process, because that's a quite lengthy process to go through. But we do keep the board informed as we go.
Thank you.
Good questions. Anything else? Okay, this is a resolution, so we need a roll call, please, Helen.
Lewis.
Aye.
Larkin.
Aye.
Severson.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
A Samurai. Aye.
Yeah, motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up would be board topics. Anybody have any for board topics?
Congratulations to the Columbia Heights Youth Baseball Association, who won the prize at the Fire and Ice Challenge for largest group.
It's a scholarship.
They
or
got a
something.
scholarship to the program, yeah.
Just I said I would mention it, so I will. A reminder that Springbrook Nature Center, it's having a fundraiser. It's called the Springbrook Nature Center Spree. It's going to be March 3rd at 5 p.m. So
I have one other item. There is Performing Arts Night on March 2nd at the high school. It's on the calendar, and there is a dinner and a incredible performance of many of our students aged elementary through high school, performing during dinner and after the show. There'll be a silent auction. Really supporting all of the kids in the arts. There'll be an art gallery, theater performances, musical performances. So dinner and a show.
Did you give a time and location?
5:30 at the high school. There will be tickets for sale. March 2nd.
Hey.
anybody else? Anything for board topics? Hearing none, we will adjourn the meeting at 8:26.